All right. We're live. Finally. Oh, 8 minutes late. I do apologize. But I already got my lineups built, so I don't have to scram for it after that. FanDuel will lock at 7:30 today. Looks like DraftKings will lock at 7:51. So a little bit extra time over there. But we're going night racing at Daytona. And not quite the playoff cutoff race, but for a lot of these guys that know they don't have a chance at all at Darlington next weekend, yeah, this is pretty much the cutoff race for them. Because we know Corey LaJoie is not going to get it done at Darlington. But you never know. He could do it here at Daytona. I already got a loud and clear from Andre. I didn't even have to say it. I do appreciate it. Jason says he likes the hairdo. I appreciate it. Just scrapped it together really quick. But looking forward to the race tonight. It should be a fun one. And as I said in the preview video, obviously there is absolutely no way to project this race. So keep that in mind when you're building. But at the same time, since we cannot project this race, that's why we are playing guys in the back. Because we know there's potential to lose half the field at any given point in this race. And all the upside comes from the drivers starting in the back. Just as simple as I can make it here. All right. Let me pull up some of my stuff here. And last I saw from Bob, the weather looks great, which we got, I guess we get lucky here for Daytona. In the summer, I know down here in Fort Myers, there's rain all around us, but fortunately, looks like it's not going to be hitting Daytona. Right. And there was something else I was going to say, but I forget what it was already. Well, couldn't have been that important, I guess. I'm sure I remember at some point, but all right, so I'll answer any questions you guys got. I know it's a Saturday stream, so I'm sure it's going to be a lot quicker than normal. I'm sure there's not going to be as many questions or as many people here. So I do appreciate everyone that is here on your Saturday evening. Obviously, Sunday is more popular. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, but next week we have the Darlington race at night, which that'll be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that. But like I said, I appreciate y'all being here, and let me get into some questions. And all my lineups are finalized. Got the CSV up, so we're good to go. We're kind of just chilling until as long as we got. But I got done from Chris Jenkins, as always. I really do appreciate that. He says, what would be the most drivers you would start in the top 15? So if it's in the top 15, my typical rules, I go over this every single time, but I'm sure not everyone remembers. From drivers starting 1st through 12, I go 0 to 2 drivers. So a lot of times it usually populates 0 of those drivers. And then drivers starting 13th through 24th, I want 0 to 3. And then drivers starting 25th on back, I want at least 3. So 3 to 6 drivers. That's the rules I go by. If you want to change that by a couple, like if you want to make it from drivers starting 1st through 10th, go for it. But I think you guys get the general strategy of that. Obviously, depending on some of the drivers and where they're starting, you can cap that differently if you want to. Like for example, if you wanted to extend that to like 1st through 14th this week to include Blaney and Busher, in that, by all means, go for it. But that's the general strategy I would go. So I wouldn't say any more than 3 Chris Jenkins, but a lot of the time we are, or CGen in Discord, but a lot of the times it usually is like 0 to 1 for me. And just going over some of my exposures here, looking at the way I sort it is just by starting position, because that's the easiest way to view it. I have a total of, talking about 150 max and 20 max, it might not be as spread out. But for drivers starting inside the top 10 today, I have exposure to 3, and it's all 5%. It would be Joey Logano, just in case he wins the race. He is my projected winner. I want you to keep in mind, though, my projected winner today is finishing 13th. Like, that's how, like when you're on The Sims, we have the DNF rate, and we kind of set randomness pretty high. So I have just a handful of Joey Logano's in case he wins and dominates. I have a little bit of Austin Cindric, another guy that I think has potential to win the race. Doesn't look like William Byron showed up for me. I did have it set to 5%, but he did not show up. And then I got some Chase Elliott as well. So for drivers starting inside the top 10, that is basically all I got. If we're looking at 20 max, where it'd be more condensed, I have 1 William Byron lineup, 1 Joey Logano lineup, and 1 and 2 Chase Elliott lineups. That's it. So obviously not very much. And that's probably how your lineup should look as well. All my exposure, if you're looking at a starting grid, like going from up here to down here, I have like barely anybody up here, and then it's all just getting bigger and bigger as we go further down. It's basically the best way to build for this. But do you appreciate the donor, sir? What's up, Johnny T? Says, as always, gotta ask, what are your favorite cash plays over on FanDuel? Do I stack the back with the usual suspects, or do I mix in Reddick, Bell, Gibbs with a few in the back? Thanks. Appreciate you being here, Johnny. Yeah, so it's basically the same on DraftKings and FanDuel. FanDuel, more of an inclination to play drivers that have race winning upside, just because the PD doesn't add up to as much, but really it's kind of the same exact builds. So if I'm over on FanDuel and I'm playing cash, I'm 100% starting with Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse, Corey LaJoie, and then honestly, it's pretty easy just to pick a couple other drivers starting in the 30s. You can go Justin Haley, Carson Hocevar, Shane. If you wanted to use some of the drivers with bigger names, Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick would be the only ones. Maybe Ty Gibbs I would think of. But honestly, I don't see any reason not to play just straight 30s in cash today. Because let's look at some of the guys in the 30s. These guys, like, it's not like they suck. And even if there's no wrecks, Eric Jones could win the race. Would you be surprised if Eric Jones won the race? Maybe a little bit, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing. I believe he's won at Daytona before. You could play Carson Hocevar, who, I mean, he can top 10 any week. Justin Haley's won at Daytona before, albeit it was a rain-shortened race, but he has won here. Ricky Stenhouse has won here a couple times. Corey LaJoie, he can run up front. Can't really say that for Shane, but I mean, all these guys have the potential to run up front. Like, well, why not just play them? Like, there's really not much downside here at all. Now, the guys that are going to need some wrecks to help out a little bit, BJ McLeod, Cody Ware, but I'm playing them. I got at least 15% BJ McLeod today. I have at least 10% Cody Ware. Like, sign me up. Vic says, hey, Chris, top 5 to win the race. Thank you. Yeah, so let's keep in mind, projections are wacky today, but my projected finish for the top 5 is Joey Logano number 1. And please keep in mind, 12.77 is his projected finish, and that's the best of all drivers. And then I have Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, and Brad Keselowski. That's the top 5 that I have. But keep in mind, very, very spread out. And I have everybody in the field here at least having some chance of a win. Joey Gates is at the very, very bottom. Very, very, very bottom. But highest I have is Joey Logano winning at 6% of the time. It's very, very spread out for me. What's up, Josh? So let's keep it rolling, Chris. What is the highest you're willing to go in a starting position this week? Outside of just going like full-blown 150 max to where, yeah, maybe I get a handful of Joey Logano in. I think he comes in like 10 to 15%. So when I said I have 5%, I'm trying to be very underweight on that. But in all reality, I really wouldn't want to go like above Hamlin, Wallace Hamlin. I don't really see a reason to. If I'm hand building. If you're playing a bunch of lineups, I mean, Chase Elliott's really the cutoff, besides maybe like a couple shares of Logano in case he just comes out, leads 60 laps, and wins the race. What's up, Clint? Leaving work. Best NASCAR community out there. Saturday Night Racing. Let's go. Appreciate that, Clint. It's always a good time. And you're part of the community, so thank you for making it what it is. Do appreciate y'all always hanging out with me. And glad you can make the stream. What's up, Mom? All you NASCAR fans, collect you all, and go Joey. Yeah, if Joey's going to win a race, I mean, I wouldn't be overly surprised if it is this one. We know how good he is at Daytona. But he does like to cut up in the wrecks. And that's one of the reasons why you don't really need to worry about these guys starting up front. Like, as good as they are, and they can win the race, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good they are, because Denny Hamlin, one of the best ever at Daytona, passed in the Daytona Next Gen races. He has not one top 15, as long as I have my data right. Not one top 15. Average finish at 24th. Running position just inside the top 20. Keselowski only has one top 5. Blaney only has one top 5. Same with Elliott. Same with Byron. Logano's got 2 top 5s, but even then he has an average finish of 14th. So it's like, it's random. It's just completely random. That's why these guys, no matter how good they are, there's just so much risk with it. What's up, Johnny? My lineup tied for first place last week with 5 other players. Thanks, CP. Yeah, that's awesome, Johnny. Glad you did well. Trying to remember what happened last week. Where were we? It was Michigan with the Monday race. Yeah, he did profit on that magically, even though Truex decided once again he cannot put together a full race. But fortunately, He was so high owned, I guess it just didn't really matter in some of my builds. Like in single entries, he was like upwards of almost 90%, depending on which one you were in, so it didn't matter that much. What really kind of killed me at the end was obviously Truex going out. I mean, it obviously hurt a little bit, but then I had a lot of Bowman who was doing well, but I guess he hit the wall and then he just never came back out. Finished like 2-3 laps down and 20 whatever. The Bowman thing is what hurt me the most. I don't even want to know how I was doing before Bowman ended up dying. What's up, Darren? Says, help him having issues with cash lineups. Have Jones, Haley, LaJoy, Hocevar, Stenhouse. Who's best for last spot? Yeah, that's a tough one. I think most people go Christopher Bell in that instance. He is my highest projected driver of the ones you did not mention, and the highest projected ownership-wise. So if you're just trying to play the ownership game, I would say Christopher Bell would be the best option, and then projection-wise as well. But if you're going for full-on safety, SVG starting in 32nd, probably the next one. So I would say it's SVG or Bell for me personally. Just a matter of if you want to play the big name or the smaller name. Bell will be higher on though. What's up, Matthew? Says, one, are the FanDuel build rules different from DraftKings, or is it still stacked the back? You're basically building the same way. On FanDuel, I noticed some of the drivers starting closer to the front want to creep in my lineups a little bit more. I try to, with the exposures, I try to limit that. But just because finishing position is a little bit more important over there, it kind of guides you to more, maybe you'd have more Hamlin, more Blaney on FanDuel than you would on DraftKings, at least in my opinion. But I still try to be underweight on them, and I still want to be overweight on these guys in the back, for sure. And number 2, he says, the fam and I are going to the Saturday Homestead races in October. Would you and the missus like 2 tickets? That's awesome. I really do appreciate that, for sure. We're definitely going to the Sunday races. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get there in time for the Saturday race, but if you could hit me up on social media or something, if we end up going, I really do appreciate that. It's super nice of you. That'd be awesome. I'm just not sure if we're going to have time to be able to get there for the Saturday races. But if you're going to be there Sunday, I could always come say hi. I really do appreciate that for the offer. So I'll let you know, but very nice of you. And I love Homestead. I think that track is awesome. It's that, or Kansas is definitely like the best 1.5. I would say I just like any track that has tire wear. I wish the championship race was in Homestead. That would be sweet to go to. And unfortunately, next year we have Homestead in March or something. And I'm not even sure if I'm able to go to that anymore because obviously I have my streams and stuff to do. So really annoying that they bumped that back up to the beginning of the year. I think it's just fine where it's at right now, if not the championship race over Phoenix. Mike says, I think only 2 drivers in the top 15 even made my pool in 20 max, and that was Busch and Blaney. Yeah, I have no problem with that. If you want to X out really all the top 15, I wouldn't be against it. But if you just want to get a couple of sprinkles in there in case they're a race winner, which is what I did, I have no problem with that. Like if Kyle Busch wins, he'll be on the optimal. Now, if Michael McDowell wins and he didn't lead 140 laps, yeah, he's probably not going to be a top 6 scorer. You can cash with them, obviously, but the way to be optimal today is just get the 6 highest scores. And unlikely is it that anybody up front will do that. And Phil, Race Sheets on Twitter, he posted the optimal lineups from Daytona and the next gen. Let me find it, pull it up here. So past 4 optimal lineups, so since 2022, next gen for Daytona. Starting positions for the Daytona 500 for the optimal were 34th, 18th, 24th, 38th, 28th, and 29th. So you had Byron starting in 18th. He won the race. That's enough to be optimal. Obviously, he scored 66 points. So that's one instance where a driver starting in that range can be optimal. If you look at the Coke 400 last year, Keselowski and Busch are starting 12th and 11th made it because they finished 1-2. Other than that, it was 27th, 39th, 31st, and 37th. Look at the 500. In 2023, Busch starting 9th was optimal, finishing 4th. Then other than that, 24th, 31st, 29th, 40th, and 38th. And then in 2022, 2 years ago for this race, it was just straight stack to back besides Austin Dillon. Because if you guys remember, we had the big one and then wasn't like another big one. And then Austin Dillon miraculously was like the only car that made it through. And then all you had left was the bums like BJ McLeod, Gasol, Ware, and Reagan. So probably how builds will look Like if we have a driver in the top 12 that makes optimal, I'm not going to be like insanely surprised about it, but there's just so much risk with those drivers. Most of the time it's not worth it. Raphael says, buckle up guys, this is going to be fun. It should be fun. My only concern is that they ride around for like 2.5 stages. Now the stage ends should be good because some of these guys really need the points. But I do worry that we're going to have fuel saving and these guys are just not going to try for a little bit. Although, with this being so close to the playoffs, I'm sure some of these guys are not going to be content just riding around. So if we can get a third lane going and we have some decent racing, I would love that, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. Not sure how patient guys like Bubba, Ross, and them are going to be. Mike says, anytime Corey LaJoy is my highest owned driver, it's never fun. Not usually. This is one of the times it's usually fun, but you can't rule him out wrecking. Like, I don't have a driver in MME today. The highest owned I have is 40%, and that is Eric Jones. And I think he'll be higher than that. So I am technically underweight, but that's just because I don't want to have like 80% Eric Jones. And what if he finishes 27th? Is that a bad day? No. Could you easily cash with that? Sure. But in the chance where he finishes 27th, these other guys like Cody Ware just finds himself in 14th. I don't want to just be glued to Eric Jones because these other guys have very similar upside. He's the best play in the slate, but I don't have anyone above 40%. I am very spread out back there. Yeah, it's definitely stack the back and cross your fingers. Pretty much all it is. And I always say this. I don't look during any race. I said I was going to do that a couple years ago, and it's so much better. Do not look how you're doing during the race. Just look afterwards, because there's just so many times this year where there's an overtime, and then you lose half your drivers in that overtime, and you're just going to be hurt. I'd rather not know how I'm doing, but this is definitely one of the races you don't want to look. It does you no good, because if you're winning all the money in stage one, it doesn't mean anything. Nothing means anything until we hit checkered flag, because I mean, turn 4, you can lose half the field too. So my recommendation is don't look until afterwards. I say that, but I know I know that won't be the case. What's up, Spread? Says, can't wait for tonight's fuel mileage race and Blaney Dubsky. Yeah, I can see both of those definitely happening. I hate the fuel mileage stuff. That's so stupid. Because earlier in the year for the 500, we had 500 or Dega, I don't remember, but Allmendinger was like unlapping himself by himself. Like he was faster than the draft, which is insane. Mike says, Xfinity had a crash on lap 3 yesterday. Yeah, and unfortunately, I was watching Cruz's live stream earlier, and he made me laugh in like the first minute the way he described it. But yeah, there was a wreck at the very beginning of that Xfinity race, and it was all the guys in the back, which is always possible. It's always possible. That's why you don't go 100% on a guy like Eric Jones, because what if he's the first guy to wreck? Sure, can he still outscore half the field when they wreck? Yes, but you're still at like 1 point. So don't lock anybody in today, because things like that can certainly happen. Like the vid on the way in, please and thank you. I agree, Spread. It goes a long way. And we only have 2 live streams left. Well, 1.5, because we're about half over now. But football season starting, and I'm just not going to do a live stream on Sunday because football is too powerful. And I'll be busy doing football and NASCAR stuff, so just really won't have time. So unfortunately, last live stream will be next weekend at Darlington. So hopefully I'll see you all there. Say our goodbyes. I'll still be doing the videos though, but just no live streams. What's up, Rick? Afternoon CP and race fans. Are the Fords going to be fast tonight? They should be. Well, obviously, they crushed in qualifying. I feel like every qualifying for a Super Series this year, it's Michael McDowell and Joey Logano in some kind of combination. Todd Gillen threw himself in there as well. But I do have the Fords being the top dogs today. So my projected for winning manufacturer tonight, I have Ford winning 42.1% of the time. I have Chevy winning 35.2% of the time. And I have Toyota winning 22.7% of the time now. Keep in mind, the Toyotas are always at a number disadvantage. So I think the Toyotas that are in the race should be running well, like Hamlin, Bubba. Truex usually does run well at these, but I don't know what happens. He just finds a way to not finish well. But he usually runs good. Mike says, it's nice to see Bubba on his screen. He's my pick to win. Yeah, I had no idea who to put on the thumbnail. I was like, I haven't done Bubba in a while. I think Denny Hamlin or Truex gets the thumbnail every single time, so I figured I should just switch it up. But Bubba can always make some noise here, and he definitely needs some points. What's up, Ryan? 2 to 3 drivers to be high on for today, such as the 12, 23, or 1. Also, who are the must-play Eat the Chalk DK plays? I wouldn't be too heavy on, oh, you mean like high for like starting position? So for guys starting inside the top 20, the ones I want to play the most would, I mean, ownership aside, Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, and Blaney project the best of the guys starting inside the top 20. But at that ownership, I don't really want to. I'm showing negative leverage, I believe, on all of them. Yeah, negative on Blaney, almost even on Denny. And then for Ross Chastain, it's pretty much dead even. So they're not really guys I want to be extremely high on. I'm not really high on anybody starting inside the top 20. I'd rather just play these terrible plays. Like, play Daniel Hemrick. No reason not to play some Daniel Hemrick today. He could easily finish 6th in this race. But the musty plays on DraftKings for cash games for the chalk, it's Jones, it's Stenhouse, and it's Corey LaJoie. I think those are like the 3 main plays today. And you can make a case for Josivar. You can make a case for Justin Haley as well as being right up there with them. Esther says over under on Chris showing up. I think it was at 8 minutes today. 8 minutes, so not too bad. We've had 10 to 12 minutes before, so it could be worse. Yeah, fortunately, not on time. Well, enjoy your pizza and pasta and aloha from Hawaii. I can't imagine there's that many NASCAR fans in Hawaii. But I think you guys said you're not from Hawaii, so maybe that's why. But thank you for tuning in. I would say you had to watch the race on the TV, in my opinion. You got to give it the big screen. I heard the fights are not that great tonight anyway. Nathan says, let's take this slate down. Hello, Carnage. Yeah, I like the way this slate's set up too, because, well, I wish there was more bigger names, like starting in the very, very back to eat up like 50% ownership. Unfortunately, we don't have that. But it kind of creates a decent situation where they're all starting up front, and people will play them. People do not like to leave $20,000 on the table. My main FanDuel lineup has $23,000, I think, left over. And then I built one that has $32,000. I think people don't like to do that, so it's not hard to get different today. I mean, the casual player is probably hopping on DraftKings. They're like, okay, Blaney's good at Daytona. They're playing him. Denny's great at Daytona. I'll play him. And then you're just trying to fill out your salary. So they won't be owning up, some of these guys in the back. White House says, better finish. Blaney versus Hamlin, Bell versus Reddick. I mean, it's all about luck here. So good luck with that. But finish-wise, projections, I do have Blaney over Hamlin, and I have Bell over Reddick, although it's literally by 0.01. So slim margins, and there is just no way to project it. It's all luck. Clint says, the wife said you're late because you had to do your hair. It's true. It's true. I had to blow dry the hair. But we made it. We made it. What's up, Bonnie? I think you took down the donut last week, so I'll give you a little shout out there, if I remember correctly. It says, how much Eric Jones is too much in 20 max? I wouldn't personally go above 40%. I think you can probably reach 45-ish to maybe 50 today, depending on how much he gets steamed up. But I wouldn't want to go above 40. There's just too many very similar plays back there. What's up, Raphael? What strategy you were going with? I probably already answered it. I know I'm so far behind in chat, but I think you guys probably get the gist by now. Mainly just looking at the back half of the field, and then my ownership pretty much just gradually goes up the further back we go. I am being overweight on the guys that are going to be lower owned. So John Hunter Nemechek, Zane Smith, Cody Ware, BJ McLeod, for example, SVG. Some of the better leverage plays in the slate. They offer a similar upside to a guy like Eric Jones, but they won't be played nearly as much. Lost my spot. Okay. So Keith, Chastain is still at the end to lock in a playoff spot after a huge crash. I wouldn't doubt it, Keith. I could certainly see that. A lot of known terrorists in the field. Austin Dillon, I'm sure, is willing to kill someone. Ross Chastain obviously has no problem with that. He's proved that many times. We know Logano will do it, although he's already locked in. Same with Keselowski. Bubba Wallace. I'm not sure if he'll go that crazy, but LaJoie, I know he will. So definitely a lot of guys out there that'll that's looking for some blood. Jay Longo says, my back is killing me. All I need is Chris Buescher to win, and I can finally tell my. I should read my chats before I speak. Anyway, Matt says, Chris, why the heck aren't you at the race? Come on, man. Have a great weekend. Matt from Northwest Indiana. Matt, I know I'm in Florida, but I am really far away from Daytona. About far away as I can get, I think. It's like 5-6 hours. So it's just too far, but I will be at Homestead. But I'd have to fly into Daytona. I'm not driving that long. I don't like driving over 1 hour. But yeah, you have a great weekend as well. It feels like Sunday, but I gotta keep remembering it's only Saturday. What's up, Tim Lee? Says, Bubba's the thumbnail means he's your favorite driver. That's true. I think so. For the record, I know a lot of people hate Bubba. I do not hate Bubba. I don't have an issue with him. And honestly, he has some pretty good races from time and time again. But I know he's not the best guy out there, driver-wise. Yeah, I completely agree with Tim. 40% was my cap as well. I'm not above 40% anybody. Noah says, we just going Haley and Jones and finding it out from there. I have no problem with that, Noah. No problem with that at all. Although, leave him out of some lineups. But Jones is definitely the easiest to get to today because his floor is like 1 point. What's up, C. Mitch? Only playing cash today? I don't blame you. Who are your main two guys to vote around? Stenhouse, Joy, Jones, Haley. I mean, it's pretty obvious, I would say, for who I would like. They're all in the 30s. And it all comes down to that sixth driver, whether you want to go with like SVG or Christopher Bell or Tyler Reddick. Personally, for me, SVG feels safer. I don't think SVG is going to try to just go up there and dominate the race and get turned. I don't know. We'll see. We know that car can finish well at Super Series. We've seen Dinger do it. We'll see what happens. But SVG feels safer to me over Bell, but I don't think the ownership is going to be in SVG's favor, which is also something you have to keep in mind, because if Bell comes out and finishes third and SVG's like 26, that could definitely be like the main thing that kills you. Matt says, do you expect Truex and or Gibbs to ride the back till the end, seeing that they're on the good side of the playoff bubble? It's a good question, Matt. I don't really know how they're going to play. I've seen instances where Truex comes out and he's leading and takes some stage points, but sometimes he just completely drops to the rear. I don't really exactly know how he's going to do it. I wish I did. If I'm playing them, I prefer them to ride around in the back and wait for the end, but it's going to be kind of a guessing game. We will see. So it says rain. Hope not. Last I saw, unless Bob's lying to me, but Bob loves talking about the weather. I think he grew up wanting to being a weatherman and he got stuck doing NASCAR reporter role. Let's see. We do have a truck race tomorrow as well. So once we lose half our lineups in a wreck on like lap 12, we can just look forward to the truck race tomorrow. And I see Ty Majeski get the pole. Short flat track, so he's going to dominate. I'm fairly sure of that. Him, Christian Eckes, and Grant Effinger are usually the main suspects. But yeah, weather's staying west of Daytona. And the thing with Florida weather, it just kind of bubbles and sits there, and it looks like it's just sitting in the middle. Marcus says strong quotation. I forget what I was even talking about at that point. Steven says, Chris, your hair is always good. Tonight reminds us of this race. It's a tornado warning, but always fun to Daytona. It's funny. I like that, Steven. I like that one. What's up, Kyle? I'm pretty sure it's Silva in Discord. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think so. Any news on the Austin Dillon appeal? I believe they got the spotter suspended only one race. I think that was it. I don't remember. I mean, he didn't get his playoff eligibility back, and that's all I care about, because obviously we were very anti-Austin Dillon in this household now. Ash says he has 2,400 left. That's perfectly fine. Best way to build today is not using all your salary, that's for sure. What's up, John? Says, hi, Chris. Who do you have finishing better head-to-head, Reddick versus Bell? Let me pull these up here again. Just if you are betting head to head today, it is complete luck. There is nothing else, no other way I can put it is besides just pure luck. But Reddick versus Bell, I have Bell by 0.01. Chastain versus Buescher, I have Buescher by actually quite a few positions. I have Gibbs and Wallace. I have Bubba ahead of Gibbs. That's by a couple positions too. But again, complete luck today. Thoughts on Bowman? Bowman does make the player pool. He is starting 20th and back. He's in a Hendrick car. Which I know cars don't matter, but they can work their way towards the front. It's just a matter of, is he going to be in the wreck or not? If he's not in the wreck, decent chance he could finish in the top 10, but I have no idea. But he is in the player pool, just more of a fringe play for me. Keith says, I was a barber for over 20 years. Would kill to have that hair in 5 o'clock shadow. Killing. Appreciate that, Keith. I used to, for a while, I was cutting my own hair, but I don't do it during stream season because if I mess up, I don't want to have to be on here in a hat because I don't wear hats. I think you guys would know what would happen, but I appreciate it. I always watch barber videos on Instagram. I don't know why, they're just addicting to watch. So shout out to you. Being a barber seems like it'd be tough. Phil says, who can we expect to drive in the back and play it safe? It's a great question. I'm sure Joey Gase is going to ride around the back. BJ McLeod, in theory, you would think maybe not, but I feel like he might try to just get up front and have some fun. I don't really know. Cody Ware might. I don't know. I mean, there's just all these cars are so even these days. It's like almost, I feel like everybody has the ability to run up front at some point if they really want to try. But I don't know who's going to hang back. We've seen Truex hang around in the back. We've seen Denny Hamlin do it. He usually tries to be there at the end, make himself available. I've seen Keselowski hang around in the back before. Other than that, Kevin Harvick did it sometimes too. It's me, it's Ernest T. He says, going off of skill, who seems to be good at driving a race like this and not starting wrecks? I mean, the best Super Studio drivers are Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Brett Keselowski. It's probably like the Elite 4. You could put in Chase Elliott in there, the Elite 5. Other than that, I mean, Buescher's solid. Kyle Busch is solid, but I definitely think the top 5 are probably like Hamlin, Blaney, Keselowski, Elliott, and Joey Logano right now. Although, I mean, Logano and Keselowski have wrecked their fair share of drivers. Hamlin might be the best at trying to position himself, but obviously he's had some terrible luck here at Daytona in the next gen car. What's up, Zan? I feel like I missed your message earlier and completely skipped it over. Is Gibbs going to win today or what? Probably not, but I'm not going to rule it out. But where is he? Because he loves drafting tracks? Yeah, I know. That's the only thing you ever like to talk about. I remember our first Daytona race, saying I think you were yelling at me because you were like, why didn't we play Bowman on the pole because he was leading the race? But it all worked out. They all wrecked. I remember that memory though. They are fun though. There's stretches where they are pretty boring during the race, but once they're actually trying, it's usually pretty entertaining. Xfinity was a solid race. They did get single file for a little bit during stage 2 or stage 3, but ended up being solid. A couple of big ones too. Esther says, food coming hitting hard. I might nap soon. Well, we got about an hour for the race, so I would get your nap in now if you need to, or during stage 2. That usually is a good time to nap. Phyllis says BJ seems not as safe since he's shown he'll drive to the front. Yeah, if you guys remember the dual race, BJ was like literally like leading a line, but something happened. I think he got out of line or he hit the wall, scrubbed it a little bit, and just ended up going right to the back. But BJ has the ability to, do well. Like I'm playing BJ. There's no reason not to play him, at least a little bit today. Got a donor from Heater. Appreciate that. Says, thanks for your help with the opto. Helically to shed some tears for Larson. This is definitely a race that Larson fans usually do shed their tears because for whatever reason at super speedways, he just gets absolutely wrecked. And yeah, there wasn't an issue with the opto last night if you're on the Patreon, but we had a bug fix this morning. So just make sure you reset the settings or refresh it and it should work fine. Don't know what happened, but we fixed it. So for some reason you're still not there and you didn't contact me about that. That's what you got to do to fix it. But no problem at all, Heater. And he says, I'm 7 minutes late and Chris is already on. Wish you get the like 100 times. Help me out. Appreciate you, Manny, as always. I know you're always trying to help me get those up. Hey, what's up, other Chris? Been a while. As soon as I saw that logo, I knew. But I hope all is well for you as well. And yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate that. What's up, RB? Says, hey, Chris, any suggestions for single entry? So if you're playing a single entry, honestly, you can just leave a bunch of money on the table. I would avoid the big names. So if you're playing single entry, don't play, I'm not saying they're bad plays, but don't play Gibbs, don't play Bell, don't play those kind of guys. I would just stick to these lesser names. They have a ton of money on the table, and it's probably the best route to go. Because a lot of people are going to play these cheaper plays in the back, but they're going to pair them with a Denny Hamlin. They're going to pair them with Christopher Bell. Just try to avoid those big names, and I think that's a really solid single entry to still play the good plays that are still chalky, but you're not playing like complete chalk, if that makes sense. Because it's just a single entry. It's not like you're playing against 100,000 people. TMS, is there too much salary you can leave on the table in GBPs? Not at all. I mean, you can leave so much money on the table today. Let me go to the opto here. I'm going to lock in the bottom. I'm going to play, okay, Joey Gase, BJ McLeod, Cody Ware, Hemrick, and Haley. And we'll throw in Nemechek. Like, that is a lineup that could win today. 100%. That leaves roughly, you're using $31,000. So, yeah, that's a ton of money on the table. I have no problem with that. I wouldn't play that in single entry, but there's no limit today. Not at all. And your lineups are going to suck for the majority of the race today, guys. Just know that they're going to be bad. But nothing matters until checkered. And honestly, a lot of these guys, I mean, these days with the cars, you don't even need Rex for these guys to play out or to work out. Obviously, we want the Rex for these guys that are starting close to the front to like get hit hard in the negative 30s, negative 20s, because that's when it really starts to work well. But these PD plays, they can get up front. They don't need Rex. But we are rooting for the Rex for these guys up front because, I mean, it just absolutely hammers their points. What's up, Steven? What's up, Sean? ECB, thoughts on Bell, Reddick, LaJoy, Jones, and Steakhouse. Thanks as always. Appreciate you and your content. Appreciate you as well, Sean. I like it. Bell and Reddick, I feel like that range is going to be overowned today. They are good plays, and I did play them today, obviously. For my single entry, I went like full-on scrubs instead of the Reddick and Bell route. But, I mean, it's a good lineup in theory. I worry about the ownership on them. I just feel like a bit high for starting in the 20s. What's up, CJ? Our other friend from Hawaii. No question this week, but pray we don't lose power. We're in a tropical storm. Well, I hope you don't, CJ. I know what it's like losing power, and it's not fun. So hopefully all is well for you guys over there. I didn't even know Hawaii was getting any weather like that. You guys are so far away. Pick and Lawyer says, think any of the bigger name guys will fall to the back on purpose? I'm sure some will. I'd love to be able to tell you guys I know exactly who's going to do what, but I don't. So I don't want to just sit here and lie to you to sound cool. I really don't, though. I mean, I've seen, pretty sure it was Keselowski at Talladega or something. He just rode in the back almost the entire race, 35, 36. And I think Almirola was doing it too. And then once stage 3 started, I mean, they just started trying. It might have been Atlanta. I don't remember. But once they started trying, I mean, they're right there up there at the front. I think it might have been Atlanta. I don't know. What's up, Ace? Do you have a back only lineup? Second, you think Denny's upset about the point stock, to possibly win today? Well, thing is, I mean, yes, obviously he wants to win today. The points thing is something that's certainly on his mind, I am sure, but you can want to win as much as you want, but you don't have any control of just getting caught up into something. But Denny is obviously one of the favorites for this race for a reason. He's great at Daytona. But yeah, a lot of my lineups are specifically just the guys in the back. So much upside there, and downside is quite limited. Charles says, how would you think a lineup with 4 guys starting in the 30s, maybe one in the top 10 and one in the teens? That's fine. Follows the rules I have. As long as it follows the rules, I don't really all I can So obviously, if you're like, if I'm hand building, I am strictly going PD. If I'm doing 20 to 150, that's when I start mixing in those guys. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we have no idea which one of these drivers in the top 15 is going to do well. And there's just so much risk. So much risk. If you just happen to get the one that gets burnt, finishes 34th, like, you're never toast at Daytona because there's so many wrecks, but it definitely puts you in a bind. Like, sure, Blaney's awesome. He is awesome, but he could finish 36th today. That's certainly possible. He could finish 40th. Hello, beautiful. Happy Saturday race. Yes. We're going to have it on the TV. Have a good time. And had Miss Jules build some lineups today for Daytona that she was excited for it. So hopefully her lineups can take down as well. I just told her to pick some guys in the back at random and hope for the best at the end. That was the 5-star advice. No, it says the way to get optimal is to get the 6 highest scores. I know, hard hitting analysis right there. But the thing is, I mean, at other tracks, it's not always that case because you can't afford it. Like at Daytona and Talladega, it's just strictly the top 6 scores. That's as simple as that. You don't have to worry about value plays and whatnot. But yeah, I know it probably sounds funny. Hit me up with a season-long lineup. Have 0 uses with Denny. I'll be honest, Charles, I have no idea how the season-long thing works. Is it like place differential or what? I have no idea how that works. Right at Jeff says, is it too cute to not play Jones on a FanDuel single entry and just play whoever I want in the back because it's Daytona? I mean, it's not too cute. I have lineups without Eric Jones. I didn't lock him or anything. I have 40% of him in MME. And then for single entries, I played him in one, and then I left him off in the other. I probably have I played like 6 single entries, and I have Jones in maybe 3 of them. So, I mean, you don't have to play him. I mean, who's to say he doesn't finish 31st? You know? Obviously, he's got the best floor, he's got the most ceiling, but, you know. Just because he starts 40th does not mean he's immune to wrecking as well. You know? But the floor is always there, of course. Bush's Kush says, is stacking top 3s teammates a good idea tonight and straight up odds? I'm not exactly sure what you mean. If you're talking about stacking teammates, I don't normally do it because I've seen so many teammates kill each other. Back in the Keselowski-Penske days, I always use this as an example, but I feel like they always just kill each other at the end no matter what. So, I mean, if Bubba is racing a teammate and he's got to do what he's got to do to win, wouldn't be surprised. So I don't really stack teammates. I think Denny and Bubba should work together tonight if you want to do a Denny and Bubba lineup. If you're hand building, sure, but like if I'm building a bunch of lineups, it's not something I care about really. Okay, it is Silva. It says, tell them how I wrecked you on NASCAR heat at Miami Speedway. I'm still mad at you for that. I had a nice little race with Silva, and he forces me to go in the pits like in the last couple of laps. We're on speaking terms for a while. What's up, Jim? I have 15 lineups to fill. What 4 drivers would you lock in? I mean, I wouldn't lock in any driver today, but Eric Jones, Stenhouse, LaJoy, Haley, just some of the top options today for sure. Nathan says, 100,000 giveaway for the last live stream of the season. Yeah, let me just pull $100,000 out of my pocket really quick. We'll start giving it out. No, not quite though. Not quite. Ethan says, favorite GBP picks? Literally just the low owned scrubs in the back. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just BJ McLeod, Zane Smith, Nemechek, SVG, Daniel Hemrick. Like the guys that are chalk in the back, it is very clearly Jones, Stenhouse, LaJoy, Haley. Play the lesser owned guys. Really as simple as GBP gets today. Paul says, am I crazy for not touching Keselowski to win? Due to the fact of clearly prioritizing Buescher over himself, I was hoping McDowell doesn't wreck the Fords at the end. No, that's true. I mean, last year I had a Buescher to win bet plus 2,200, and Keselowski, fortunately enough, did not decide to terrorize the field, and he pushed Buescher to the win. I was very thankful for that. So, but I mean, Keselowski's already got a win. Buescher doesn't need a win, but that's definitely something that makes sense to me, Paul. Like, I think if it's a situation, Keselowski would be perfectly fine pushing Buescher to the win. We saw that last year. So, yeah, I'm fine with that. Thought process, I should say. And yeah, McDowell, I think it was Talladega, Just that insane block that got Tyler Reddick the win. I mean, I don't know what McDowell was doing, but he just went full send across the entire track. Let's see. Smith Waller says, I won the Xfinity race. 60K piston yesterday for 10,000. That's awesome, Smith. Shout out to you. It's awesome. For real. Maybe you can back it up and go back to back today. More of a payoff today, that's for sure. Keith says he left over $4,000 on the table. That's perfectly fine. What's up, Bull? Bubba log out. Good log out, good not. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Bubba's obviously good at super speedway. It's just a matter of not getting caught up in the mess. Bull says Chris Ray's held him the special guest next week. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I do respect you never giving up on it though, Bull. The determination is admirable. What's up, Pedro? Nice to see you, sir. Nice to see you. That J Plaza, Hendrick Motorsports, Chris. Let's go, Larson. Not usually the best races for Larson. I'm sure you understand that though. For whatever reason, he gets screwed. I don't know why. Mick Thomas says, favorite FanDuel plays, you rule, go Big Blue. Well, favorite FanDuel plays are basically the same as DraftKings. It's really just all the guys in the back, like Jones, LaJoyce. I know I sound repetitive, but it's just really all it is. Host of our winning coming? That'd be kind of funny. I mean, it definitely doesn't need to be in the playoffs, but it would be funny. I think it'd just be hilarious to get like a absolute random win today, like a Cody Ware in victory lane. I think BJ McLeod win would probably be the best outcome possible. First off, it'd be hilarious, and then secondly, it's just BJ, you know. Bush's Kush says, actually like MTJ tonight's a DFS play, lower owned. Yeah, his ownership's not going to be crazy. I have him projected at... I have Truex projected around 17%. I have him optimal more than that. I do think Truex is a decent play, just from the ownership standpoint. But, you know, he's like right in the middle. He's a fringe play for me. Zan says, regulate cup races on Saturday, so much better. See, for me, Zan, I don't like the Saturday races. During football season, I think the Saturday races make more sense. But Sunday night, if every track had lights and we could run Sunday night every single place, I think that would be the absolute best outcome. Something about Sunday night race that's awesome, just like Sunday night football. He says the guy will lead the most laps, strike out 5 to go. He does do that quite often. If you're looking at his Daytona numbers in the next gen, he has the most laps led and 1 top 5 to show for it. Or I'm sorry. Second most laps. I was looking at Keselowski's number. 2 top 5s to show for it. Mark says, Daytona is the Survivor Series of NASCAR. That is true. Jay Swift says, the more slander you give AD, the better he had been. Where did he finish last week? I don't think it was that good. I don't remember, though. Let's see. Where did Mr. AD finish last week? 17th? We'll take it. As long as he's in top 10. I mean, I've never liked AD, but Richmond was uncalled for. Let's see. 3 wide stage 1 calling it? I hope so. I hope we're 3 wide the entire race. That's all I want. I want everyone trying. I want full throttle. Not going to happen, but I want full throttle. I just want chaos. I just want something fun to watch. Ross says, big fan, been watching for a couple years. Appreciate that, Ross. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate that. Feel free to talk in chat more. I'd love to say hi. People are too desperate to chill tonight. I hope so. I really hope that's the case. Got to keep the expectations low, though, for a ride around, fuel saving, no one trying. Keep the expectations low so we can be surprised. But yeah, I know a lot of people, I mean, this is it, because Darlington's a race where Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, Truex will win. I mean, LaJoy's not coming out and winning. Eric Jones ain't coming out and winning it. No, I shouldn't say that. Eric Jones is actually awesome at Darlington. So keep him off that. But, you know, you're not going to see just some random win at Darlington. It's going to be a guy that always happens to be good there. Pool says only head-to-head I'm betting is Gibbs versus Reddick. I'm taking Gibbs just because he has plus money. Yeah, and that's I was going to say that earlier, but I wasn't sure if you could get plus money anywhere. You can get a plus money head to head. It makes no sense to not take it. Unless it's like, like Ware versus Joey, but they wouldn't offer that. But yeah, if you can get a plus money head to head, it makes no sense not to take the plus money guy. I know Sean said 2 days ago he bet, I forget which driver it was, but it might have been like Cindric versus Bowman, and Cindric was plus money, so he bet it. And then a day or two later, Bowman ended up being plus money, so he bet that. So it's like a profit either way. Thoughts on Chastain and Hocevar? I like Hocevar more today than Chastain just because of the starting position. Both are playable, but I do more Hocevar. Nathan says, my former coworker Bubba just called me out of the blue. Is it a sign? It might be, Nathan. It might be. I have a decent amount of Bubba tonight. So, as far as winning the race, though, I mean, spin a wheel on that. Will says, how are you going to talk about the best Super Series drivers and not talk about Bubba? Look at the stat. Oh, Bubba's one of the best, but I think that Logano, Elliott, Blaney, Keselowski, Hamlin are a tier above him. I would say that. They're more dominant. If we look at the 15 race sample size of the next gen, as far as being like a dominator at the super speedways, you have Bubba at 5.7 laps. Then you have Logano at 23, Byron at 15, Elliott at 15, which is not a lot, but he is trailing them. Bubba is obviously good, but I do think they're a tier above him. He can be in the second tier, though. What's up, Daniels? Daytona, baby. Let's late but still here. Been running UFC lines, stacking the back today. Standard plate stuff for me, for sure. Good luck to you as well, Daniels. Good luck in any sport you're playing tonight. What's up, Obi? Hope you're having a great night. Guys, I'm playing the outline drivers. The outline drivers? You mean like the guys like on the cut line? That's what you mean? It's really just all about it. I'm not factoring in the like where they are in the playoff standings really tonight. I'm just playing starting positions. Remove the names from drivers and just look at the starting positions and play those starting positions. That's like the best way I can put it. Like, if you can on your screen, just cover them up and then click the numbers you see, not the names. That makes sense. Zach says the worst Super Series drivers. It's kind of hard to quantify because I mean, outside of like the elite few, I mean, all these guys just, you pick up your finishes once guys wreck out. I'd probably have to say Larson. Like finish wise, Larson just brutal every single time. For whatever reason, we have a 15 race sample size in next gen, including Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega. Kyle Larson has 1 top 10 finish in 15 races, 3 top 15s, and 6 top 20s. Average finish at 24th. He does run decent, but man, finish wise, he's just in a bad position at a bad time. Every single time. I don't know why, but just what happens. Other than that, though, it's really hard to say because these guys' average running positions, if you're not like the elite, it's pretty much all like 15th to 20th because they're all just mixing and matching. So it's really hard to say. Zach the back day? For sure, Obi. For sure. Hello from Florida, Sarah. Hope all is well up there in Mississippi. Reese says, Blaney Bush, Elliott Jones, Stenhouse, anyone more? Too high up for me, personally. Just so much risk. So much. I know they're elite Super Series drivers, but Blaney Bush and Elliott, I mean, the chances of all 3 of them working out, even one is still fringe, but all 3 is kind of wild. But if you need one more and you're stuck on that lineup, I would probably say LaJoy. Sal says, how much can we play guys like Hill and Burton and Hemrick lower owned since in the 20s? Personally, for me, I do not have much Hill or Burton, but I do have a decent amount of Hemrick, close to 15-20%, I think. Projecting him for upper single digits, lower 10s, so I'm overweight on that. I think it's closer to 20% for me. I think he's one of the better leverage plays than Hemrick is. Richard says Larson for the win. If Larson wins today, I mean, the world might end tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. If ownership does not matter, just got to beat my buddy. Would you still do all the scrubs in the back, or would you swap 2 for Bell and Reddick? No, honestly, projection-wise, I do have Bell. higher than a few of them, but like my top projected on FanDuel, or I'm sorry, that was sorted by DraftKings. Let me pull up FanDuel on my. I do think Bell and Reddick are projected a little higher in FanDuel. So just for a difference, give you guys an example. My top 5 projection wise on DraftKings are Eric Jones, Stenhouse, Haley, Bell, Hocevar. But on FanDuel, it's Jones, Stenhouse, Hamlin, Bell, Wallace. But you gotta take projections by a grain of salt for a track like this, because that doesn't mean they're gonna be my 5 highest on drivers. For me, I would just, if you're just playing your friend, I don't know how skilled he is, obviously. I'd probably just play like the chalkier names in the 30s, personally. Does McDowell lead 23 laps? I know that's a Prize Picks question. I have him under that, but I'm going to be honest, last time I did a Prize Picks at Daytona for laps led, it was under Keselowski, like 26 and a half, and then he led the first 27 laps of the race, and then never led again. And that was hurtful. But I don't have him leading 23. I have Joey as the guy that probably leads, but I don't know. It's something hard to project. It really is. Reese says, no, he gets passed by Logano. Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably what happens, but anyone's best guess, I guess. But I do have Joey as the top dominator today. Yeah, it's all about finishing position for sure, Bull. Kenny says, hey, Chris, it's Bubba time. It might be. He is the thumbnail in the video, I guess. Obi says, thanks, Chris. You're welcome, Obi. David says, dude, you ran all those names into one word. I apologize. I feel like I've said the same names like 30 times, so I apologize. I'm just trying to get through the names. But I don't even remember what I was talking about at that point. You're welcome, Pickin. If I said those names quick, it was probably LaJoy, Keselowski, or not Keselowski, LaJoy, Stenhouse, Hocevar, Eric Jones. But I don't even remember what I was talking about. All right, 7:20. We have lock on FanDuel in 10 minutes. Lock in DraftKings in 30 minutes, I believe. Last I checked from Bob, if anyone is going to the rear, I don't care anyway. But weather, I believe, look good. SVG in the 88 car, I didn't just see that, but I think that's pretty cool. Next year, that'll be sweet. But I haven't seen anything from Bob, so we should be good to go. I forgot, Bull. I do apologize. All right, I think I got through every question. You know, for a Saturday stream, we got through an hour, so I think that's still pretty good. I gotta hop back in Discord. I gotta make sure everything's finalized and answer some questions in there. I do appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We'll have football content starting very soon. Probably get some week 1 stuff up on Labor Day that weekend. Then we have the Darlington race. We'll do a live stream for that. Then we have NASCAR and football. But one more live stream after this. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Wish y'all the best of luck.